Hey puppy, is it okay if we talk about human stuff today? Are you preoccupied? Hey guys, it's Jasmine and that was Puppy, and today we are talking about human stuff, and specifically we're going to do a bulk review of plant-based protein powders. If you are new to this channel and like cat stuff and fitness and nutrition things for humans, then please remember to click that subscribe button below, as well as the little bell icon that's right next to it, because we do put out a new video every Catter Day. So I get the question all of the time, and it's always one of the first things that new clients ask me is about protein powders and which one I suggest or recommend, and which ones taste the best or are the best price, or simply what is the best option when it comes to protein powder. I have used and suggested the same protein powder. It's called Raw Fusion, and it is by SAN Nutrition, or SAN Nutrition. And actually my book, this book that I wrote a couple of years ago, the Best Plant-Based Protein Bar Recipe book, I used the Raw Fusion by SAN in this book exclusively, and I'm not associated with them or anything like that. I'm not sponsored by them. I actually tried to correspond with them to be like, hey, I wrote a book that was pretty much featuring your protein powder, but I didn't really hear anything back. So it's just really good. And I went through this process before over 6 years ago, where I tried a bunch of different plant-based protein powders, and that one was the one that tasted the best, because let's be honest, if you're not used to plant-based as in dairy-free, whey-free, casein-free protein powders, completely vegan protein powders, if you're not used to them, then they definitely taste very, very different. They tend to taste more earthy. And I wrote a blog post about this actually years ago, which I will link in the description below. But it's even like I mentioned in a part of this book, you know, you're used to protein powders that taste actually pretty good. Like most of the whey ones have really good flavor profiles. But when it comes to the plant-based protein powders, instead of, you know, tasting like a fresh, yummy vanilla cupcake, the bad ones can tend to taste like a fresh, yummy vanilla cupcake that you dropped in the dirt and let roll around a little bit and decided to eat anyway. So that's what I've used as a go-to, and that's what I have suggested to clients who have asked me what protein powder I recommend, and that's the one I used in this book, which is available on Amazon and on TrueHealthTrifecta.com, and it has tons of really cool, you guys know, if you've gotten any of my books, I'm very visual. So it has tons of recipes and tells you how you can customize your own recipes. So there are a whole lot more options when it comes to protein powders being plant-based or dairy-free or vegan that are on the market. So I figured it was a good time to do another little experiment to try these different protein powders, just to see if there is something that could potentially take the place of the Raw Fusion that has been my go-to for so long. Oh, and that being said, if you haven't noticed, I don't know if you can read, it says, I may not be a meat eater, but my cat sure is. And on the back, you could see the Cat Lady Fitness logo. And this right here is a prototype for Puppy's 2018 collection on catladyfitness.com in the shop. He does have a few fun things like this coming out in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned, because we might even have a giveaway. So for the past solid 6 months, my go-to breakfast has been the same oatmeal bowl, except in this case I have changed out the protein powder aspect. What I do is I just put my oats in a bowl, and then I put in some chia seeds and some ground black sesame seeds, and I have happened to have ashwagandha on hand, so I put a little bit of that powder in, and then I add some cinnamon and some ground ginger, a little pure vanilla extract, and a little bit of allspice. And I pour in some boiling water from there, give it a stir, let it sit for maybe 5 minutes or so it thickens up. And then I add some frozen blueberries, mix those up in there. And then the very last thing I do is add a scoop of whatever protein powder, and I whisk that in until it's nice and mixed. And sometimes, depending on the protein powder, I'll add a little bit more water just to get it the right consistency. I like my oats nice and thick. And yeah, as I was eating my oatmeal every day, I would take down any notes on the protein powder I was trying. In some cases, like I have them sitting right here, it was the actual jugs that I went through, the whole jug. In other cases, I just got a bunch of little samples. I'm sure you guys are ready for the actual reviews of these right now, so let me just pick them up randomly one by one, no particular order, and let you know what was happening. So this first one I got off Amazon based on the price and based on reviews. It seems really, really new. I think it just came out maybe this year or even in 2017, and I got the chai flavor, which usually my preference is vanilla, and that's because you can make a vanilla flavor into anything. You add cocoa powder, it becomes chocolate. You add some cinnamon and some other spices and it becomes chai. So this one, the notes that I wrote down for myself with this one was that it was very, very mild in flavor. So this might be a good starter for some people if you like a cinnamon type, chai type flavor, but not too strong. This might be a good option for you. And I remember it was fairly inexpensive compared to other plant-based proteins. This was on the grainier side versus powdery. Now with plant-based protein powders, a lot of them are more on the grainy kind of clumpy is the wrong word, but grainy kind of side, which is better than powdery because the powdery ones, if you open the container or, pull it up in the scoop, I mean, it's just like a puff of smoke. Like if you were to shake up a bag of flour and open it up, like that's how it is when I say powdery. And this one was also not very thick. I actually noticed, which was weird, that this protein powder kind of thinned out my oats a little bit, which is strange because typically plant-based protein powders are more of a flour consistency. They're a little thicker. So if you were to use them, let's say, mix them up with some kind of yogurt or use them even in some kind of baking, you'll notice if you've used whey before that with whey, it really tends to thin things out. But with the plant-based protein powders, it acts more like a binder and like a flour. Overall, this one was pretty good. I don't know if I'd buy it again. I'd have to compare the price to Raw Fusion. But I would say if you've never tried plant-based protein before, and if you like chai and even slightly like it because this is super duper mild in flavor, then this would be a good option to try. So next we are going to talk about this one that I got from Whole Foods. This is their plant-based nutritional shake in vanilla caramel flavor, which sounded really good to me. The nutritional shake, if it says nutritional shake versus just protein powder or protein supplement, that typically means that they add a whole bunch of different supplements to it in the form of greens powder. Sometimes they'll add things like maca root powder, digestive enzyme blend, antioxidant blend. So if that matters to you, if you want to get that little additional nutritional boost potentially, then you might want to look into more of the nutritional all-in-one shakes versus a protein powder supplement. This one, the texture, this was very similar actually to the Vegan Smart, and I got this because it was on sale. I would say that just the fact that I got that weird savory aftertaste, I probably wouldn't recommend it. And it also made my oats kind of watery, which isn't a preference of mine. The flavor was okay. It was pretty mild, vanilla caramel, like it says, nothing to write home about. Overall, this one didn't really, knock it out of the park for me, but it wasn't that bad. Next, we're gonna talk about Trader Joe's organic pea protein powder in vanilla. This one is super basic. The only ingredients are the organic pea protein isolate, the organic coconut palm sugar, organic vanilla, and other natural flavors. So yeah, The ingredients are plain. This is super affordable. It tasted very plain. The vanilla was very, very mild. Even though this actually does contain sugar in the form of coconut palm sugar, it was a very, very mild sweetness compared to other ones that may contain monk fruit or stevia. So this one, if you don't want to go crazy with flavor and if you want something affordable, then this is a really good option, but this is definitely not something to write home about. All right, so you probably noticed there is a huge difference in lighting, and that is because a hurricane decided to happen outside or something. So if you hear the thunder too, that's what's going on. But we must finish this video, which may be 2 parts because it's way longer than I expected to make it.
Any ideas?